So, your operations are performing well. Strong output and profit. Inventory under control. Happy customers. All seems great. But circumstances can change. Perhaps there's a sudden surge in demand for your product, or maybe a key supplier has a major issue. A disruption to your supply chain might mean a few days of lost sales, a delayed delivery, an unhappy few customers, or it could crash your whole company. Along with strong current performance, we also probably want a flexible and robust supply chain and operations. This is typically achieved through a combination of buffers. Buffers of time, capacity, and inventory. This creates space for the operations and supply chain to continue to function in the face of disruptions. A time buffer means giving yourself more time than you need. If you can make the delivery in 1 day, but you only commit to delivering in a default 2 days, then you have a 1-day buffer. Of course, customers would always like it in 1-day delivery, and you could offer it to them. But then you'd have no buffer and incur a higher risk of disruption. Now, being slow is not a buffer. It's only a buffer if you could use it. Buffer capacity comes in many forms. The ability to ask employees to work overtime, having more employees than you need, having extra vehicles, having agreed priority to buy extra shipping or plane slots, having extra production machines. Carrying excess buffer inventory means to have more than you need to function in normal times. This might be called safety stock. It could be raw materials to protect against supply disruption. It could be work-in-progress inventory to protect against a particular internal process having problems, or having excess finished goods inventory so you can meet a sudden surge in demand. But we can't let the desire for a more robust and flexible supply chain be an excuse for having slow lead times, slow inventory turns, and silly underutilized resources. A warehouse full of stuff that you don't really know what it is or where it is, that is not buffer inventory, and is probably just a pure expensive waste, cluttering up your operations. It's only a functional buffer if you're not using it, but it's ready to use. As well as extreme unexpected changes, there is also much normal variation, which already causes us to have buffers of inventory time and capacity. Anything we can do to reduce the base level of variation in supply and demand, internally and externally, can reduce the need for these expensive buffers or provide genuine extra resilience. Actively reducing the variation and uncertainty of demand and supply is a powerful lever in supply chain and operations management, not to be overlooked. How about measuring resilience and risk? It's difficult. A common method, though, is to quantify how many days your supply chain or operations could continue to function if there was, say, a supply disruption or a surge in demand. Consider the most likely causes of disruption in your supply chain and work out how long you could continue to operate with the buffers of time, capacity, and inventory that you have. Is that appropriate for your level of risk and the likely consequences? It's all a trade-off.